Okay, you're welcome to Primary 6 Integrated Science, and this is Mr. Mayende Ronald, a teacher of Integrated Science Primary 6. This is the first lesson. However, when we went back home for COVID-19 holiday, everyone is aware that COVID-19 is real and is killing. So my children, I emphasize that let us social distance, wash our hands with clean water and soap. As you know very well that when you wash your hands with clean water and soap kills this germ, as science says. So don't hesitate to wash your hands every time you touch surfaces which are not clean. Make sure you sanitize where need be, because we are trying to fight this enemy called coronavirus. Secondly, let's come back now to our lesson of science. This is the first lesson, and we are still continuing with our topic of keeping cattle. Then subtopic is cattle pests and diseases. Last time when we left, we had looked at undercoated about cattle keeping. However, today we are looking at cattle pests and diseases. When we talk about cattle pests are also called cattle parasites. Cattle parasites. So, what is a parasite? Said cattle pests are also called parasites. So, when we look at parasites, in primary 4 we looked about parasites. In primary 5 we looked about parasites that affect goats, sheep and pigs. In primary 6 we are looking at parasites that affect cattle. So what's a parasite? Yes, James? Very good. Clap him. So he has said a parasite is an organism that spread. So a parasite is an organism that spread diseases to animals. But is it correct? No. So, yes, Peter? Wonderful. So a parasite is an organism that lives on another organism for survival. A parasite is an organism It's an organism that lives on another organism for survival or depend on another organism for survival. We can also say a parasite is an organism that depends on another organism for survival. So this work has been put in the notes that you're having. So we shall keep on referring ourselves to the notes that we are having. Yes, we have two types of parasites. Types of parasites. Yes, Bilal. One. Good. So you are saying that you have external parasites. So external parasites are also called ectoparasites. So the word ecto means outside. So the word external means outside the body of an organism. So these are parasites that live outside the body of an organism. Then we have the second type of parasites. Yes, Gift. Very good. So this is what we call internal parasites. Into bracket, yes, Emma? Yes. Into bracket, we have what we call endoparasites. So the word endo here means inside. So when we talk about internal parasites, these are parasites that live inside the body of an organism. Are we together? These are parasites that live inside the body of an organism. That's what we call endoparasites. So we have examples of external parasites. Examples of external parasites. External parasites are parasites that live outside the body of an organism. That's why we call them ectoparasites, outside the body of an organism. So, examples we have, yes, good, ticks. We have ticks, yes, Sharon, wonderful. We have fleas, good. Yes, we have mites. Jacob. Good. We have flies. Lastly. Good. We have flies. So, these are what we call examples of external parasites, meaning they live outside the body of an organism. For example, let us talk about ticks. Ticks are always found outside the body of an organism, and they keep on sucking blood from the animal. So it becomes a parasite, because depending on this animal for survival. Then look at the fleas. They are also common parasites in domestic animals. We have mites. We have flies. This one is spread nagana to cattle. It's a very good parasite. Then we have lice. So these are what we call examples of external parasites. Then, still we have how to control external parasites. How can we control now these external parasites? We know they are very harmful to the body of the animals. But now you want to get rid of them. How can you control these ticks? You have your farm, you have your cat at home, but the cat have been infested by the what? By the ticks. How can we control them? Yes, James, one. Very good. Can you tell that, James? He has said that one way we can control these parasites is by dipping. By dipping animals in acaricides. So there is someone the word acaricides. When we talk about an acaricides are chemicals that kill external parasites. Some of us who are having cat at home, what I see, when they are putting these chemicals in the knapsack sprayer and they begin spraying on the cattle, that chemical that we spray on the cattle is what we call acaricides. Are you together? So when you dip these animals in acaricides, the ticks or the insects which are on the body of the organism, they will die. Because remember that when you're dipping, we have what we call a deep tank, where these animals go and swim in these acaricides. By the time they come out, all the ticks are dead and other parasites. Then we have another method of controlling pests. Yes? Good. She has said by spraying animals using parasites. We spray the animals using parasites. So, I've already talked about parasites are chemicals that kill external parasites. So, if we cannot manage dipping, get an abstract sprayer, put there the chemicals, then begin spraying your animals. Good. Then, the next one. Yes. She has said very good. By rotational grazing. We can have rotational grazing. With rotational grazing, a farmer partitions his farm, the farmland, into different paddocks, maybe if it's paddock system. Then today he can decide to graze the animal in paddock 1. Then tomorrow when he comes, he can graze this animal in paddock 2, the other day in paddock 3, the other day in paddock 4. This is rotation, keep on rotating in different. So you find that if it is rotational grazing, the ticks were in paddock 1. These animals, they move so that these ticks will lay their eggs in the grass in paddock 1. By the time the eggs hatch into pupa, you find the animals have moved to paddock 2. Therefore, this pupa and the larvae will have no food to feed on to hatch into adults. Even if the adults hatch, still they will have no food to feed on such that they can again lay eggs to multiply. So they end up starving and they die. 1, you find that all the parasites which were here, the ticks, are already dead because they had starvation. The animal were not there. Such that where to feed what? To get the blood from to continue surviving. So this is what we call rotational grazing. Today you graze here, tomorrow you shift, you go to another paddock. Like that. As the first one, keep on the grass keep on growing. So that's what we call rotational grazing. We can also have another method of fencing the farm. By fencing the farm. A farmer can decide to fence his farm. When you fence your farm, you are preventing the other animals from other herds to join your animals. Maybe Mr. Musoke's farm, the animals are having these parasites, they have the ticks. But if you don't fence and you keep on grazing together, these ticks can move from Mr. Musoke's farm to your farm, and your animals also will have the what? These ticks. But if you fence, Mr. Musoke cannot jump the boundary to come and graze in your farm. So your animal will be protected, will be free from those cattle parasites. Then we can also have what we call handpicking. By handpicking, when I talk about handpicking, it's what a farmer uses just the hands to remove the ticks. Like when goats look at the ears, you remove. On animals under the udder, you remove. You keep on plucking these ticks. That's what we call handpicking. But don't try, some animals are they're not docile. It will end up kicking you one day. So this one is done by only those farmers who are used to this cattle, that they cannot what? Kick them. Then also we can use sesafly traps. Sesafly traps are set in the swamp areas where sesaflies breed from. So every sesafly that keep on moving around that point can easily be trapped by sesafly traps because they all have what? Chemicals. In that way, you are controlling parasites in this cattle. Are you together? Then lastly, we can also look at now at internal parasites. Internal parasites. When we talk about internal, we say that internal to mean internal is endo. It's endo. Endoparasites internal parasite, internal means inside the body of an organism. So, internal parasites are parasites that live inside the body of an organism. If it is cattle, these are the parasites that we find inside the body of the cattle. Examples we have to yes? Good. Hookworms. We have hookworms. Yes, Jen? Yes? Wonderful. We also have liver flukes. Liver flukes. Yes, Wayahesa? Good. The tapeworms. Tapeworms. So some of these are examples of internal parasites because they live inside the body of the organism. Yes, Natigan? Wonderful. There's also what we call roundworms. Roundworms. So these worms affect these animals in the way that some of them feed on blood, others feed on digested food that this animal feed on. So look at the hookworm. Hookworm feed on blood of the animal. So it makes the animal anemic or have anemia, hookworm anemia. Then liver flukes affect the liver of the animals. Look at tapeworms. Tapeworms, for them, they feed on oil digested food. So they make the animal malnourished or have what we call nutritional diseases. We have what we call roundworms, also in the body of the animals. Now, how can we prevent these internal parasites? So we are looking at how to control parasites. How to control endoparasites. And I know that endoparasites that live inside the body of the organisms. For example, hookworm I've mentioned, I've talked about tapeworm, liver fluke, and roundy worms. Now, how can we control these parasites in the body of the organism? Yes, Magan? Sorry? Pick up. Good. So you say that by deworming animals. We can deworm these animals. Deworming is done in two ways. Let's say when you look at activities that take place on the farm, we talked about deworming. And deworming is done in two ways. One is by drenching, and another one is by dosing. So these are the two ways we can deworm the animals. I said that drenching is done using a drenching gun. It's giving liquid medicine to animals using drenching gun. Then dosing is the giving of animal solid medicine like tablets. So these two methods we are carrying out what we call deworming. And when you deworm, these internal parasites end up dying. Then another method of controlling these internal parasites. Yes, Joshua? Good. By providing animals clean water and feeds. So make sure that the feeds you are giving these animals are clean. The water you are giving these animals are clean, such that they don't have these worms, they are not contaminated. In that way, you are going to fight the internal worms. Then also, by cleaning the feeding traps. by cleaning the feeding troughs. The feeding troughs, these are the material that you use to put their feeds for these animals, or to put their water for these animals. If they are not clean, then your animals are most likely to have what? These parasites. Make sure you disinfect them with disinfectants, chemicals that kill these germs and worms in case they are in these feeding troughs. Then another one. Yes? Joseph. Very good. So Joseph is telling us that by destroying infected meat, by burning, or we can talk about destruction of infected meat by burning. If the meat is infected or is affected by these worms, don't eat this meat. Make sure you burn this meat. For example, you find your liver that you have got the liver by having the liver flukes. Don't eat this liver, because these worms can also affect human beings. What you do, you can get your fuel and burn this meat, or you bury it. In that way, you are preventing these worms from multiplying to other animals. Then let us have the last subtopic here, what we call dangers or effects. Stroke effects of worms, of parasites, on animals. We know that parasites are deadly organisms on these animals. How do they affect these animals? One, when you look at ectoparasites, for example, parasites like ticks, most of these ticks spread diseases, what we call tick-borne diseases. Two, these ticks also brings discomfort to this animal. The animal does not become comfortable. You always see these animals crouching on the walls of the buildings if it's having these ticks. Even if it's yourself a human being, you have a tick somewhere or a bed bug, you keep on scratching there, this itching, so it brings discomfort to yourself and to the animals. Then also these parasites like hookworms brings to hookworm anemia. They make the animal to be anemic. Hookworm anemia, the word anemia, you write like that. Are you together? Then look at the liver flukes. Liver flukes destroy the liver. Then we have a tapeworm. Tapeworm feed on the digested food in the body of the animal, so it makes the animal to be malnourished. The animal becomes malnourished. Ending up with deficiency diseases in animals. Then we have some other parasites like Zesophylae, they also spread diseases like Nagana. And all these notes about these effects of parasites, we have them in our notes. So we shall go through those notes. It refers to the explanation, and we do the activity which is down there. Then after answering, we shall be able to take a photo of that activity. You send it back to us for marking. Then we shall send you the feedback. Thank you for listening. And once again, I'm telling you, Mr. Ben Ronald. However, for further clarification, you can find me on 0786027865. Or you can WhatsApp me there, or you can call direct. So make sure you protect yourself. Why? The reason why we are not having you here is because of COVID-19. So keep on fighting COVID-19 at home by washing your hands. Make sure you sanitize. Make sure you social distance and wear your mask. Everywhere we move, make sure you have your mask when you're going to the public places. And if you don't have anything to do in public health, please sit at home, concentrate on your books. Learning should continue amid this COVID-19. Thank you for listening.